Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my very ego-fueled week of Van Morrison-related videos. This is Friday, day 5, and the final day of Van Morrison week here on the Americana Sam channel. I went into this not knowing what to expect, and, you know, it was fun. It was fun to talk about albums I would not normally showcase. I had a couple suggestions and some of the earlier videos. Thank you, my friend Steve at A is for Alice, B is for Bob. And then also thank you to my buddy Glenn from Glenn Kellaway from the Basement, who recommended St. Dominic's Preview. Steve recommended I do a video on Wavelength. And the other 3 albums, including this one, are ones that I picked that I wanted to talk about. And not necessarily my favorite albums by Van. I mean, Wavelength is not normally near the top of my albums, nor is this one necessarily, but definitely one of my favorite latter-day Van Morrison albums, and that is You're Driving Me Crazy. Kind of a double bill here with jazz organist and trumpeter Joey DeFrancesco, who unfortunately we lost a few years back. This is Van's 39th studio record. This came out in 2018. It was within a period where he had released not 1, not 2, but 3 albums in 7 months. And that's a large feat. I mean, even if, you're in the studio recording, 45 tracks that aren't new songs, you still have to put in the time, the instrumentation, the practice to roll through that many tracks. And this album is no exception. It's 15 tracks, kind of a little bit of a different vibe for Van because he do have Joey DeFrancesco on here with him, who is really playing great organ and, is kind of providing this, yin-yang feel with Van. He would also appear with Van on the next album, The Prophet Speaks, which came out the next year, but he's not billed as a second artist on the record. But this album consists of about half cover songs, and then the other half are also cover songs, but it's essentially Van covering himself. So I'll roll through here real quick with the track listing. You can take a look there if you want to pause it, or you can go on Wikipedia and look there too. The album starts with Miss Otis Regrets, which is a Cole Porter tune of the American Standard tradition. Really well done by Ella Fitzgerald. This was the first time I'd actually ever heard the song when I first got this record. And again, like I mentioned yesterday with Keep Me Singing from 2016, at this point I'm buying Van Morrison records as they're coming out. So I got this when it came out and listened to it. And I remember thinking that was a slower song to open an album with. But Van's voice sounds great. This is probably one of the more jazzy records in Van's discography. And obviously makes sense with Joey right there kind of helping lead the band. But nice, classic song to open it. Then they go into this kind of a really upbeat kind of swinging tune, Hold It Right There, which Cannonball Adderley had a crack at. And just a really nice kind of upbeat tune. I should also say that a lot of the background vocals and a couple of lead vocals are done by Van Morrison's daughter, Shayna Morrison, who occasionally tours with him as well. And then we jump into song number 3, which is the first of the Van Morrison kind of reinterpretations. And that's the song All Saints Day from Hymns to the Silence from 1991. And it's one of those songs, I don't know which version I like better. I love Hymns to the Silence, which is obviously 27 years before this record. But I love how they do it together on this album. Again, a very swinging tune. That's probably one of the songs that I'd recommend from this album to give it a go and see what you think about the arrangements. All Saints Day is just a great tune. And then he jumps far back into his career on song number 4 with The Way Young Lovers Do, which is from Astral Weeks. And actually, when I got to see Van in 2018, he was supporting this album as well as the album Versatile, which also came out around this time, which was also a little bit more of like the American standard kind of tunes. But he did the version of The Way Young Lovers Do there. He actually opened the concert with that. And yeah, just solid version of it. Again, at this point, he'd recorded that song a couple of times, obviously with Astral Weeks, and then he had also put out the live Astral Weeks from the Hollywood Bowl on a live album. But then he goes into The Things I Used to Do, which is this really, again, another kind of swinging tune, originally done by Guitar Slim. Not much to say on that. He also does the song Traveling Light, which is a Johnny Mercer tune. Billie Holiday covered it. Track number 7, Close Enough for Jazz, is another Van Morrison tune. And then he did that on the album The Things I Used to Do, which, The Things I Used to Do, he had just covered as well, the song before this. So he's covering himself doing a cover from that album. Number 8 is the song Goldfish Bowl, which I believe is new to this album. It's a Van Morrison tune, but I think it was new for this album. That's also a really good tune. I'd recommend that. Evening Shadows is the next tune, another Van tune from his really underrated album Down the Road. I love that album. But Evening Shadows sounds like it could be like an American standard song. It sounds like it could have been something from the 40s in the jazz world. I really like Evening Shadows. You should check it out. Then he goes into Magic Time from the album Magic Time, which that album and Down the Road at this point were not incredibly old albums. I think Magic Time was like 02, Down the Road was 04 or so, something like that. So, within about the 12 or 13 year period since this, before this album came out, excuse me. Then he does the song You're Driving Me Crazy, as track number 11, which is done by, who was it by? Walter somebody. Can't read my handwriting. But then he does the classic Every Day I Have the Blues, which everybody's done in the blues world. John Mayer's covered that song. Yeah, it's been around everywhere. I think Eric Clapton's done it. I think Stevie Ray did it, but it's been done by a million different people. B.B. King, I think, also did a version of that. And then he goes into like this version of Have I Told You Lately, which is from the album Avalon Sunset, one of my favorite Van Morrison albums from 1989, and was also made a minor hit by Rod Stewart. This is a very different version than what's on there. The other versions on here of the other songs kind of stay fairly close to the originals. This one is like a full-on, swinging like big band kind of deal with big trumpets and saxophones. Van's playing saxophone all over this album, as he does on a lot of his records. But that's also the version that he did when I saw him in 2018. He did that version of Have I Told You Lately. It's like, have I told you lately? It's kind of like you want to be like, yeah, man, like you tell us, cat. I don't know. Then he does the song, second to last track, Sticks and Stones, which Ray Charles had a big hit with. The Zombies also had a version of it too in the 60s. But it's funny, Van's version, I don't know that he ever says the term Sticks and Stones in it, so he just got like this other version of it, which is fascinating. And then again, kind of like Keep Me Singing, he finishes with the song Celtic Swing, which is a reinterpretation of his song Celtic Swing from Inarticulate Speech of the Heart, which was an album he did in the early 80s, which was mostly, about a little more than half of that album was instrumental. But really great closing tune there, and again, kind of mid-tempo, just great horns. And yeah, I really recommend this. If you like jazz, if you like, there's good organ music. Again, his daughter Shayna is singing on Have I Told You Lately, especially. Yeah, she does a great job there. And yeah, Joey is just a top-notch musician. So I highly recommend it. Again, the album is You're Driving Me Crazy, Van Morrison, Joey DeFrancesco. And that does it for Van Morrison week. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for indulging me as I kind of did a little bit of a dive into one of my all-time favorite artists. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you know the record or anything like that. I would say I should finish. I would listen to Evening Shadows. I would listen to All Saints Day and The Things I Used to Do. Those are the three that I recommend. Let me know what y'all think. Thank you for indulging me. Thank you for all the kind comments. Those of you that have commented, I appreciate it. And we'll be back next week. I got a couple things lined up I'm excited about. So in the meantime, y'all be good. Take care. We will see you on the next one. Bye now.